I asked the Dynasty community to give me some hot takes for 2025, and boy, did they deliver. So my job is going to be to go in here and to react to these hot takes and give it a score on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being, I don't even think this is hot at all. I think this is likely to happen. To 10, where this is totally absurd. I can't even believe you posted this. 5 will be somewhere around like, woo, that's pretty hot, but could happen. All right. So that's kind of the scale that we're working with here. So let's go ahead and get with the very first one here. Kevin says Rashee Rice, top 5 wide receiver in 2025. For me, I'm going to give this one a 6. Overall, last year, we know that Rashee Rice in his 3 games was incredible. In fact, he was the wide receiver 2 in PPR scoring through the first 3 weeks. However, that's going to be a tough thing to be able to sustain. We saw Xavier Worthy come on. Travis Kelce has not left, and they still haven't been quite the same offense that we saw from them in the past. So to assume a wide receiver is going to be able to score 18 to 20 points a game is going to be tough to do in this offense, but certainly not impossible. He is coming off the injury, which is the other thing that takes us from maybe a 4 to a 6 for me, because who knows how quickly he's going to be able to reacclimate and be ready to go. By the end of the year, I could see this being closer to possible, but it's going to be tough to do right off the rip. Fantasy BYB says TreVeyon Henderson will be a top 5 running back. Book it. For TreVeyon Henderson to be a top 5 running back, let's look no further than a guy that would play a similar style game to him and was the running back 5 last year, Devon Achane. We saw this guy get over 200 attempts, get over 900 yards, but the thing that really propelled him was his 12 total touchdowns between rushing and receiving, and then the nearly 80 receptions for nearly 600 yards that he had. Those stats are tough for a rookie to get, especially a rookie that also has Ramondre Stevenson there, which I don't think he's anything special, but he is going to be annoying. So for me, this is probably a 9. To project any running back to be top 5 is tricky, but TreVeyon Henderson this year in this offense, not knowing what kind of volume he's going to get, that is pretty darn spicy. Garrett Wilson has a higher points per game average than Brian Thomas Jr. This one, I'm actually only going to give this one a 3. While I don't think it's necessarily likely to happen, it's not far out of the realm of possibility. Last year, these guys were within 2 points of each other on a points per game basis. And what happened in the offseason to both of these players? Well, one guy added the number 2 overall pick in the draft, while the other guy got absolutely nothing added. Devontae Adams taken away, and Justin Fields, which I know that that's not something that we're overly excited about, but DJ Moore had his best season ever with Justin Fields. So I could see these guys being fairly close in points. And so for me, I don't think this is super hot, maybe even possible this year. So I'm only going to give this one a 3. John McDisk, Kenneth Walker will finish as RB1. I've got to give this one a 10. This one is crazy, crazy spicy. First of all, to project any player to be number 1 overall is really difficult to do. Even the huge names like Saquon Barkley, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Christian McCaffrey, guys like that we see up there every single year. But we've never even seen Kenneth Walker be a running back 1 period, let alone the running back 1 overall. He also misses a lot of time. He's not played more than 15 games, so he's missed at least 2 games every single season. And up until this year, we haven't even really seen much receiving work, a little bit of an uptick this year. So to jump from his best finish ever as running back 18 all the way up to running back 1 seems really, really difficult. Jim Green says Dak Prescott, top 5 QB this year. I'm going to give this one a 4. This one's definitely spicy, but not nuts. We have seen Dak Prescott finish as a top 3 guy multiple times in his career. He also has the best receiving duo that he's had since CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper. It's a new offense that should be much more aggressive than what we have seen out of Mike McCarthy in the past. So for me overall, I know that I wouldn't necessarily want to rank Dak Prescott as a top 5 guy in a redraft this year, but is it in the realm of possibility? Absolutely. We had 2 guys back to back say this, so thought it was pretty interesting. Nico Collins finishes as overall wide receiver 1. To really have true wide receiver 1 overall consideration, you've got to be somebody that has a path to over 170 targets. Without that, it's nearly impossible to be the number 1 overall receiver. Last year, Nico Collins was on pace to be more in the 145 to 150 range, which is not bad, but it's definitely not where we want to be. Now, that being said, we no longer have Stephon Diggs. We no longer have Tank Dell. And assuming he plays all 17 games, we don't have that injury-plagued game and the recovery time that it took for him to get back to full strength. So this is another one that I don't think is absurd, but it's still really hard to project anyone as the number 1 overall guy. So I'm going to give this one a 6. I don't think it's the craziest thing I ever heard, but it is definitely pretty hot. Alexa says Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra will both finish inside the top 15. I'm going to give this one a 5 here. Is it in the realm of possibility? Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Jameson Williams was wide receiver 22 this past season. So jumping from 22 to 15 is not crazy. We already know Amon-Ra is going to be in there. That part, not necessary, honestly, even to put in there because we know he's going to finish in there. Here's the tricky part. Jameson Williams is another guy that's missed a lot of time. He's missed time every single year. This was his best season, only missing 2 games, but still, he misses time every single year. So staying healthy is a problem for him. The other potential issue that we run into is how efficient is this offense going to be? We know that they lost their offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, and they lost their all-pro center, Frank Ragnow, which helped provide extra time for Jared Goff to make those deep passes. So for me, this is another one that's going to be tough, but he's good enough with a few big plays here or there that could catapult him up. Harold Fannin Jr. will be a top 3 rookie tight end. This one's pretty darn spicy. I will go with probably a 7 on this one. And I know you're saying, well, top 3, is it really that hard? The odds of him being able to surpass both of the first round guys, Colston Loveland and Tyler Warren, is just very unlikely. The volume that they're going to get right away is just going to be so much more significant than the likely volume of a guy taken in the 3rd round. But it's not just those 2 guys. You say, okay, it's just those 2, and then we'll get in. Well, let's also remember Mason Taylor. Mason Taylor has almost no target competition. It's Garrett Wilson. And then after that, you're looking at guys like Josh Reynolds on this team as the next best pass catching option. So it's going to be tough to pass any of those 3 guys. Then you also have Terrace Ferguson, who has a great opportunity with the Rams. And it's a team that has the history of being able to give the tight end some volume at times. So I just don't see it as very likely. And then you could always have a random tight end, an Elijah Aroro, a Gunnar Helm, kind of come out of nowhere and have some big seasons. So the odds of him being top 3 this year seem pretty low to me. JD, Saquon doesn't finish as an RB1. Saquon not finishing as a top 12 guy, I'm going to give that probably a 9. The only reason it's not a 10, if I was assured all 17 games, it's a 10. But there's always that chance that he misses enough time. I think he would have to miss more than 2 games for him to not finish as a top 12 guy. We saw Jonathan Taylor miss 3 games this past year and still finish up there. So if he's efficient, if he's effective, when he's with the Philadelphia Eagles, they are going to feed him early and often. This one seems very, very unlikely to me. Tyler Soto says Drake London finishes as wide receiver 3 or better. So over the past 3 seasons, the top 3 fantasy wide receivers in overall points averaged around 168 targets per game. That's not super far off from what Drake London got last year with 158. So he's only about a 10 to 11 off from what the average is. But the average was brought down by Amon-Ra a little bit last year. He only had 145. He was just extremely efficient. Usually we're seeing these guys in the low to mid 170s to be inside the top 3. So he's definitely going to have to get a little bit of a boost in targets. but nothing absurd, nothing crazy. With Michael Penix there, the two of them looked pretty good. So for me, with it not being number 1 overall and being top 3, I'm going to give it one of the better scores. I'm going to give it a 4. I definitely think it's still a worthy hot take, but definitely nothing crazy. All right, guys, in the comments below, please put what your hot takes are. We appreciate you watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel.